You are in the work field or entering back into the work field.
Turn on your screens, let
It's
the
scary.
magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come on, come on, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. In a circle podcast where hearts unite, sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a circle podcast where love is well known.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Inner Circle podcast. I'm your host, Abe Kamara. I'm here with my co-host, Miss B. Today's Wednesday, November 12th. It's our business segment, Wednesday business segment. And tonight we are talking about a proposal that is trending, right? 50-year mortgage. The president last week or sometimes this month in a interview with Fox proposed like mortgages to be 50 years, so that folks can be able to afford it or something like that. So that's what I want to discuss tonight on the Inner Cycle podcast. So where we amplify, empower, and elevate and bring in interesting topics. I'm here with my dynamic co-host, Miss B. Miss B, welcome to the show.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, I'm glad to be here today, Wednesday, minding the business that pays me. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you. And folks, man, this is an interesting one that's been trending. We have the 15 year, the 30 year, the 40 year, now they say 50 years. So it's going to be interesting tonight. So you can put a comment in the chat or call our number 952-594-5154. It's the Inner Cycle Podcast. Follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on X, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. So Miss B, man. So when I
Well, don't just jump to business.
okay,
You
okay.
went out of town
Go ahead.
and you got caught up. So, what's going on with travels these days?
I think the news media is, yeah, it's amplifying it, for lack of a better word, right? Than they should. It's not bad, right? There's delays, there's cancellations,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not really that bad. If you you can get in and out. You just have to go to the airport early, get through security. I think, first of all, kudos to the air traffic controllers, as at certain airports, kudos to TSA agents. They are still working, they are still doing it. I think even though they haven't gotten paid for the last month and they have. And as we discussed this, right, the good news is the president, I mean, the House just passed the bill to reopen the government. So hopefully the president will sign it tonight. Government can be open so these folks can get paid. But in terms of travel, I mean, it's scary, right, when you hear it, but then when you go to the airport, it's different. So that's what I can say to that.
Is the
Yeah.
airport like, was it crowded, or is it just
Um,
the delays are
I
just happening because lack of staff?
Delays are happening because of lack of staff, and it's not
Okay.
really. I think because of the way it's being amplified, it's being talked about. It's it's kind of like a Armageddon, right? It's like so folks are either making other arrangements, folks are either maybe like even the airlines are offering that you can change your flight, for no fees, right? I mean, airline have change fees now. They're offering You can change your, like, if you are scheduled to travel tomorrow, if you are flexible, you can do it Monday without any cost to
Okay.
you, right? So they are offering those flexibilities, and folks are taking it actually. And then for folks that need to get there urgently, right, it makes it easier for them. So
Yeah.
I think those are the things that are happening and things like that. So it's not really crowded. I think a lot of folks, what, I don't even want to bother, because
Yeah, that
when the
part.
announcement was made on Thursday, where everybody started panicking. So, oh God, what's going to happen? So I think some folks just say, what, I mean, travel as it is, right? Especially, travel as it is hectic, right? Flying is hectic. There's always something about it and things like that. And then now with this whole new, where in like 40 major airports in the United States have to reduce traffic by like 10%. And,
Mm-hmm.
if the government doesn't, reopen. But my experiences wasn't that bad, both in and out.
So hopefully the worst is behind us.
Hopefully, I mean, obviously they are saying, right, it's easier to burn down something, but to build it back up, or to tear down something, but to build it back up is hard, right? And then knowing that this is a busy travel season of the year, considering weather, obviously like Chicago just had a huge major weather. I mean, we here in the Midwest, weather event is something we do all the time. So the airlines are saying it might not be as easy,
As the
to
government just opening back up.
yeah, to for things to get back to normal, whatever normal is, so
Mm. And
yeah,
in so many different pockets of the economy was really struggling too, right? Because I mean, we fear airlines, they're always going to do well. People going to fly to an extent. But also what this did impact too is hospitality.
yeah,
Hospitality
I mean, yeah.
still has not really bounced back.
I mean,
Um,
car rentals,
yeah,
hotels,
those
car
people
rentals,
are
hotels.
still really struggling, and so this even hurt even more.
Even though for the car rentals, man, I don't think they're hurting, right? I think maybe they're hurting COVID, but since COVID came back, man, they'd be killing it, but but the
Yeah, but
hotels,
we
yeah,
still lost a lot of car rental companies or a lot of mergering happened. That's what happened too,
yeah,
right? Like as some Hertz shut down, but Hertz purchased Dollar, and I don't know if it's purchases that happened, but they all are under the same. I think
yeah,
it's Hertz, Dollar, and Pay something. A couple, two, three of them are all under the same umbrella. But I know like hospitality, as far as the hotels, have not bounced back since pre-COVID numbers, and are continuing to struggle. So hopefully, I'm sure this hurt them even more, but hopefully
yeah.
the
I
worst
mean,
is behind us.
if things were not going to start back up anytime soon, right? It was actually going to, because folks have started canceling their travel, their vacation plans or their travel arrangements, except folks that the business travelers, or folks that actually need to be there. Other than that, if you don't need to, right, folks are
Yeah,
always you know making other arrangement, which hurt, right, the entire economy. I mean, from the day, I mean, we did a segment on this year, where this whole government shutdown to me is stupid. I mean, every year or every other time folks have to go through this. I think politicians, no matter whatever you are fighting for, right, at the end of the day, it's just ordinary folks that
yeah.
are hurting, when it comes
There's
to
our
SNAP.
lives they're messing with.
Yeah,
We're the ones
when
that
it comes
feel it.
when it comes to SNAP, when it comes to air travel, when it comes to, I mean, so many
People
other things.
being paid and being employed. Period.
Exactly, and you're talking about an economy that is as huge as the United States, where ordinary folks, here government's a big deal. That's why sometimes we discuss politics here. In America, government's a big deal, because the federal government impact or affects every aspect of our lives. You might not realize it, right? You might say, oh, but it affect every aspect of our lives. Even this the topic we are about to discuss tonight, right? It's like every aspect. So when a government shutdown or stupidness is happening in Washington D.C., it affect everyone. I mean, the snap, the wake, air travel. I mean, you name it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so many
And
things.
when you're in business, as a business owner, you need to be thinking holistic. Like you need to be thinking like, how is this one policy going to impact maybe my competitor? And if I'm doing business to business, if my competitor be or another business that needs to buy from me is impacted, then ultimately I'm going to be impacted as well. And I think sometimes what we don't do as BIPOC business owner, Black business owners, we don't think holistic about our market. We don't think holistic about the economy and how different things impact us different ways. And it's not just about that customer that's walking in and purchasing from you, right? Or utilizing your product. There are barriers that can be caused in other industry that will impact that customer's ability to walk into your store and be able to spend money with you. Like the grocery stores, I'm sure realize like, oh wow, you know, people
Yeah.
not getting SNAP benefits does impact me and me in that industry as a grocer. What are some of the policy pieces that I'm pushing and advocating for? As I'm lobbying to these same elected officials on one end to get incentives to open up my stores or get incentives to support my bottom line, realizing that they on the other hand can still harm me on a policy that they impact the everyday citizen that comes to my store to purchase goods from me. So I just think people with business, you need to be thinking about the market holistically and how different things, different policies somewhere else impact you still.
Oh yeah, I mean, and then I mean, we since the new administration, right, there's already been a lot of uncertainty in terms of like tariffs, the business environment, so many things, so many policy decisions, and now the government shutdown, right, it just kind of muddy the waters even more because for the last, I mean, couple of months now that we have not even had a jobs report, right? There's a monthly job report that come out. No one know how the economy is doing, right? Inflation data is not coming out. So a lot of stuff right now as business owner, they should be mindful. To your point, that's a great point. Like you have to be thinking holistic, like how does this impact my business, right? Is it has my I mean, are folks going to be shopping, this Christmas? Are folks going to be coming to my establishment? What and even if you're offering services, right? People might decide, you know what, this just not the right time to make any major purchase, to do
Yep.
anything major or anything like that. So as a business owner, obviously, yeah, you have to be thinking holistically because no one know, right? Right now, it's like the economy kind of a dark place or in like a dark hole because no one knows what's going. I mean, we are about to kind of end the longest government shutdown, right? I think 43 days, right? And so no one knows what's happening. We haven't had a jobs report for a while, and then also October in almost since 2000, October was one of the months where companies already lay lots and lots of people
That
off.
part,
You know,
that part.
so there's a lot going on in this
What is
economy that
unemployment looking like? I don't even think we got an update on unemployment.
no, that's what I'm saying. The data, the
Yeah.
BLS, which is Bureau of Labor Statistics, have
Yep.
not come up with that data. Government does not function when the government shut down. So they will tell
Yep.
you, I think the only aspect of government that has been functioning is ICE. It's still been, they have still been raiding people. So
Everybody's been talking about that because ICE gets their money from a different department, I believe. They get it from immigration,
no, what
and
happened? What happened was that their money was already approved, right, before the government shut down. So they were not affected, basically.
but other people's money was approved too.
I mean, it's like ICE has $100 billion to work with. So if you want to join ICE right now, there's a huge bonus. Encouraging folks to go and
What can
join
I?
ICE.
What can my business? What kind of business contract can I get from ICE?
Maybe the only thing anyway, I don't want to get
Am I
into
gonna
that.
market where the people are, where the
Yeah,
undocumented people are?
exactly. So here on the Inner Circle podcast, right? Maybe ICE could come to us. Hey, man, want to advertise, to recruit. Who knows? You know what I mean? I mean, but I don't want to get into
You
that,
help
right?
them with their marketing to recruit additional ICE patrollers.
Agents, yeah, agents, right? It's like right now they are recruiting like crazy. Honestly, they are recruiting like crazy. They are signing bonus because they have been given a mandate to 3,000 arrests a day. Do you know how many human beings that is? 3,000 arrests, and you're not just going to arrest illegals, right? So many people
Yes, so many legal people are gonna
fall
get
to the traps
arrested.
of that. So, but
Wow. A
yeah,
3,000 people a day mandate.
that's a mandate. Yeah, that's a mandate from the White House. 3,000 a day.
So that means
Can
I need
they
to
can they
work.
meet that can they meet that quota because they don't even have enough agents,
No.
and so it's hard.
So if I don't want to if I don't want to be detained for detainee's sake, I better work on not speaking my colloqua.
I don't know about that. I don't think I don't think that's I don't I don't think it's gonna go. I mean, well, I don't want to
Because
say.
my chocolate melanin self is a target regardless because
Okay,
I got too many things going against me, unfortunately.
okay,
Although
okay,
they
yeah.
are blessings to me, but according to this America and the world that I'm living in right now, they could be enemy of progress for me. So yeah, but yeah, let's get back to the fact that we don't know what our economy is looking at. And what is this whole thing about tariffs and the economic benefit that we're going to get from that, and in the form of $2,000 checks? So we'll talk about that as
So,
well.
so here's the thing. I mean, now that you want to bring that up, right? So since the election on Tuesday, because as I said, right, that's why elections in this country matters. The election result, a lot of the exit polls, they were polling people to say, okay, what is on your mind? What's going on? And I think we have talked about it even on the Inner Circle podcast. It's just affordability. I mean, I've had
Hmm.
politicians on here like, look, I as an individual, even when I go to the grocery store, man, the things you used to get, for $200, something it's costing you $500. So a lot of folks, no matter what's your political affiliation, right, a lot of folks are like, grocery prices are high, things prices are high, things are just too damn expensive. That's why it is, right? And
Yeah.
so a lot of folks are feeling pain, and things like that. And so when the folks went the exit polls, according to the election in New Jersey, New York, you know, uh,
California.
Virginia, California, wherever, right? People was like, okay, what is driving you to the polls? They say affordability, grocery prices are so high, rent is so high, everything is so high. So that's why I'm voting
Oh,
now.
really?
Yeah, I
'Cause,
mean, so
yeah, me working at a nonprofit, we talk about these things all the time.
yeah,
But when we talk
so
about it, is we trying to be socialists and provide free stuff. The
so when
reality,
you
the cost of living in this country is high and wages are low.
we're talking about current environment, right? So when the radical left Democrats, bam, when they swept to power in those states, it caught the president attention. Actually, it caught his
I'm a
attention. So he's
socialist independent.
okay. So he's been coming up with all of these proposals. Number one that we're going to discuss here tonight. The second one is to send $2,000 checks to to low and middle income Americans, $2,000, because he said
Hopefully I
according to him,
qualify.
he said according to him, right? The U.S. government has collected so many tax revenue. Now they need to give some. It need to give some of it back, to the average American, so they can benefit, right? Because that's one of his signature policy. So there's so much revenue flowing into our country from tariffs that ordinary folks, average folks should benefit. So he's proposing $2,000 check. I don't know how much. I don't know the income range, right? I don't want to say here tonight that I know how much. What is the cutoff? Whether you should be making 50,000 or 75,000 or 100,000 to qualify for the $2,000. But that's his proposal, and I don't know when the $2,000 checks are gonna start coming down. But who knows what I
It
who,
sounds
who
so
knows what I'm gonna do? Who
it
knows what I'm gonna
sounds so
do?
like, oh my gosh, they've been hating me on me for the last 43 days. I need to do something for them to like me again. Because this is not even a bill. It's not even any real conversation at the table right now. This is just him showing up at a press conference and throwing the carrot
Well, I
at
mean, it's
us,
like the,
dangling
the
the carrot at us.
the tariffs money, right? He said, I think I've learned that he can't, they can't, the Treasury Department can actually, if he decides that they should do that, they can actually do that. It won't need Congress approval or anything like that. I think they can do that according to what I've
These are
heard. I
the
could be
same
wrong.
people you were preventing them from having their SNAP benefits.
I could be
But
I
you're gonna
could be
come
wrong.
back and give the same
And
people.
and then
Oh, you know I was just playing with y'all. Come on, take this $2,000. Let's move on.
you
Let's
know
keep it moving.
we are human beings, right? We're quick to once people see $2,000 in your bank
Oh
account,
my
who knows? They'll
dear,
say
just best
they'll
believe.
say, Trump,
Yeah,
Trump is the best, and then come the midterm, they say, man, that's for Republican because there might be another $2,000 coming up.
that's for
So
Republicans to be enough to die. Look, go maybe turn around, go buy his shoes. So it'll get.
okay. Okay, but so yeah, he's been proposing, and then one of the things that I said we're gonna come up to here eventually is the 50-year mortgage, and what that is meant to do, if right, is like to reduce because housing prices are so high that a lot of places in this country, I mean, even in my own neighborhood, right, it's like there are certain houses I see some of these prices, I say, whoa, who can afford these houses? And then considering interest rate, I
That's
said,
the man who lives right next to it. Next door to it.
yeah, I said, hey, who can afford these houses? And then but you hear the prices and things like that. You say, man. And so because right now we are in a what? Right now I think it's 15 and 30. So he's proposing 50 years. The hope is it will reduce your average monthly payment. That's the
Yeah, so
hope.
what you
So
don't pay up front now will
everything
cost
has
you
been
in the long term, though, because the
everything
amount
has
of
been. Well, we'll
interest
get to that.
somebody's
We'll
going
get
to
to that.
collect. That
We'll get to that. Are you ready to get into the topic, or you still want
yes,
to,
let's get into the topic. Let's
so, well, folks, okay. Miss B just went through everything that was on her mind. She wanted to discuss current events and all those stuff.
yeah.
So we're done with that now. For folks tonight, we are discussing the 50-year mortgage. Trump is proposing. Right now we live in a environment where there's 15 years. You can do a 15-year mortgage, or you can do a 30-year mortgage. But he's proposing that we should do a 50-year mortgage. Is that a good idea? You can join the conversation tonight, obviously. And then what is it meant to do? Affordability, so that eventually your monthly payment can be reduced. Or Miss B, she's a housing expert, she's a real estate expert. For me, it's not my area. I don't like it, but I don't like real estate. I'm not saying I don't like the 50-year mortgage thing. But Miss B, what's your thought on it though?
Right away I hear more interest being collected on my home, because here's the thing that people don't take for um into consideration. The interest at the end of the day is the most costly part of the whole mortgage, to be honest, because if you took that away, the mortgage would already be cheaper for people. It'll be more affordable for people to handle a mortgage, because there are other things that, if nothing else changes in my life and I bought my house, the only thing that's fixed is that mortgage. The other things that are addition to that is the fact that property tax could go up. I'm dealing with credit cards, interest rates are changing. If I have all those additional expenses, right? I'm still not guaranteed to be comfortably living the lifestyle that I started out living with if I'm only stuck with the same income. So there's other things that impact my affordability in owning this mortgage that we don't take in consideration if we just want to slap on this band-aid. As far as a 50-year plan will make my mortgage and interest payment monthly lower, but there's other things too now that we're not addressing that's going to cause it to be high, and that's property tax, right? We don't address the fact that property tax go up every year, regardless if my income is going up every year. And so right now, more and more people are being cost burdened by their homes, because at the end of the day, your wages is not matching your cost of living. So you can do as much as you can to keep that mortgage and that interest rate low every month, but there's other things on an annual basis that's gonna come and impact your affordability no matter what, unless we address everything.
Okay. First of all, I think I have said it here many times.
Here it comes.
I've said it many times. I said, first of all, it's like the whole idea that home ownership in this country is the American dream. I think it's a fallacy. It's just meant, for whoever they are, right, to just burden the so-called middle class and low income folks. I would say the middle class, right? Just because when you really look at it, I think I put this quote in one of our chat rooms. One of these days, I said like, yeah, I think I mentioned it here, right? I heard this quote on CNBC. There's a guy talking about, like interest rate and things like that. He said, in America, we don't own homes, we own mortgages. Okay. Okay.
Exactly. That's what it's
We don't
looking
own
like
homes
these
yet. Because
days.
number one, even right now, where it is, right? It's a 30-year mortgage. How many people, except those that hit the jackpot, strike it rich, maybe business owners that, have a couple of millions of dollars and say, I'm going to pay off my home, right? Maybe you have and things like that. Or even some middle class people will do some investment and then, they get lucky or they get blessed and then they pay off their home. But I would say almost 75% of us would never get to pay off that 30-year mortgage.
Yep.
Okay. So at the end of the day, we don't really own a home. What we own is a mortgage. And to your point, not only like, yeah, the interest rate on your mortgage might be fixed, but you mentioned taxes,
Yeah.
right? You mentioned taxes, but other thing that goes up is your homeowner's insurance. That too
Yep.
goes up every year.
Yeah.
The insurance company recalculate your rate every year.
Yep.
As the value of your home go up, the your insurance basically go up. The other thing, the longer you stay in a home, maintenance costs become higher. The
Yes.
wear and tear on a home. So is that the whole idea
And
that
you're building
go ahead.
equity slower now. Your equity is building slower, and the whole main thing about it being the American dream was the ability to say the money you're saving up in your house in the mortgage payments, basically that equity, you can take something, you can take it out eventually and be able to utilize it, whether it's to pay for that college tuition, or to buy the second home, or to do some of those repairs. But with this longer mortgage, your equity is taking slower to build up too.
And you might never even build up equity. But
That part.
I would just tell people, even those that own 30-year mortgages, just look at your amortization statement. How much is going towards your principal versus how much is going towards the interest? For the first, I'm not a mortgage expert. I think Ms. B can probably speak both to this. But for the first 15 years, is pretty much what you're paying on a home is interest, except
Yeah.
and then what you have, most people that are buying home in this country, where they only do the bare minimum. They said 20% down, 20% down on maybe like a $400,000 mortgage. That's nothing, honestly. Okay.
And it's
That's
honestly, it's
nothing.
not 20% down. It's 5% down.
Oh,
So
okay, okay,
yeah,
5%,
if you're
right? Yeah,
doing
5%.
15,
Okay, I'm saying,
20,
yeah.
what is unfortunately 5% is not even realistic anymore, right? But that's all the mortgage company requires you to do is put 5% down. But what you're finding is that more younger people want that mortgage to be lower. They want to get done paying that mortgage sooner. So you're finding more people are coming with 20% down at the table to
But
be
even
able
you
to
come,
pay for it.
but even you come up with 20% down, I don't think even with 20% down,
It
unless you
doesn't
want
do
to,
much. That's why I
it doesn't do much.
discourage people from doing that.
And so even on a 15-year mortgage, on a 30-year mortgage, for the first 15, 20 years, it's only interest.
Yeah.
It is a lot, probably 10 years, and then a trickle might be going towards the principal. How many folks actually,
And 20% down, like $125,000 on like a 700 plus thousand home. That's not a good place to put your money. If you have $125,000 down, I mean to put down for a home, do not be putting that down on a home. You better take that money and be putting it into stock in different places. That is not a good investment. It's going to take you a long time before you see that equity again to be able to take that money and do other things with it.
I mean, the thing that gets me in this country, right, is that all the time, oh, home ownership, is the greatest creator of wealth. Home ownership is the American dream. But man, I think I think it's a trap.
But it's the capitalist
Okay.
model that says
It-
that. And when I tell you,
it-
let's relook at
it's
the
a trap.
model, you
It's a
get
trap.
upset.
No, no,
The
no, no. You
model worked in the time that it worked for, not in this 2025 and beyond. This model is not going to continue to work. Let's look at it different. If everything else in this model is changing and reinventing itself and looking for different ways and going through system change, why is it so wrong for us to look at the idea of maybe we need to take something from a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and reinvent and update this capitalist model? But no, people want to get upset because they want to think like this is the be all. And I can't see how, as educated and advanced that our society claims to be, that we want to be beholden to something that worked. It hasn't worked since the late 80s, to be honest. Since
I mean, it's like,
1987 to now, this model has not been working.
I think you are just anti-capitalist. Capitalism is not a problem. And socialism won't be the solution either. Just
You're just
ask,
anti-socialism because
just ask Zara.
it's not
Uh,
something that
five,
you
five
want
months,
to.
1 year from now, right? Let's just ask Zara Madan. How is it working out for him, right? He's a democratic socialist in New York. There, 1 year from now, let's see how well is it going to work for him. But socialism doesn't work. I think, and I know you don't like the capitalist system, but it's the best system. I don't think it
But
has anything
socialism
here
is
to do.
working very well in other parts of the world.
Okay,
So you cannot ignore that. You
okay.
cannot ignore that, right? And so you don't want to respect some of the components of socialism that works. Nobody's saying all of it works. Nobody's saying all of capitalism is bad. We're saying let's address the pieces of it that's not working. Let's look at the pieces of socialism that is working. Let's combine it.
Okay.
Let's
Let me
edit
let me
this
ask you.
process. Let's
Let me ask
adjust
you.
it. Systems change.
Let me ask you this: what is your solution to housing affordability? I mean, for folks to afford housing in this country, right? Home ownership, since is I mean, it's so promoted, right? Like, hey, you must issue own a home. To me, as I said, right, it is never a financial investment. I think it's an emotional investment because at the end of the day, I don't think you can ever get a return on your investment as a homeowner. I could be
The
wrong, but I
interest
don't think
rates
you.
is what's killing us across the board.
Okay.
Everybody owes the banks, from the most richest of rich person to the most, poverty stricken person. It's and nobody can get around the interest rates,
Okay.
honestly. So
So what is
it's
your
just to
what is your
say,
what is
no
your
matter how
solution?
rich you are, even with the Jeff Bezos and everybody, they're all paying interest rates on things that they buy at the end of
Hmm.
the day. I
Hmm.
mean, maybe their wealth in their credit score or whatever helps them to not have too high of an interest rate. But the reality is the bank makes money off of everybody's loan to an extreme. And if capitalism did nothing but just check that, right? And that's the thing. You get the loan, you're paying for the loan origination fee. Why are we paying the bank to originate a loan? That's the thing they're there to do, is to give out loans, right? And then we're paying all
They
this
have.
interest rate. So why aren't we splitting? Why is when I make a payment on my mortgage, why does it say 60% must go to our interest rate, and whereas only 40% goes to, why isn't it 50-50? Or why isn't it the other way around?
Well, folks, tonight we are discussing the 50-year mortgage. President Trump is proposing 50-year mortgage. Right now we have 15 years, we have 30 years, but because of affordability, right, house prices
Get
are
rid of
becoming
loan, rid of loan origination, get rid of down payments for
house
anything.
prices house prices are so high. A lot of folks cannot afford to buy homes all over this country. In Minnesota, in Pennsylvania, in Texas, in California. Even California is worse. The West Coast is just the West Coast is where the worst place if you want to be a homeowner, right? So the president is proposing a 50-year mortgage, maybe like for that monthly payment to be lower. What's your take? Does going from 30 to 50 a good idea? Let us know. You can put a comment in the chat or call our number 952
And
594
and I'm already
5454.
starting in a deficit from taking on the investment, because the idea, I got to drain my savings account for down payment, right? You're already starting me off on a deficit to purchase this home. So get rid of the down payment, because we have programs that provide down payment assistance. Why? You're taking tax dollars to same thing, to give people
But that's you
some.
see, but those are the things, right? You guys who are the social, those are the things to me, right? They are pushing this home ownership. Number one, right? Like cities and states are because of their property tax, right? That's where they get most of their revenue from. So they push this whole home ownership so bad. So even they are here, there's down payment assistance. These are all hoax, as my man can say. Man. It's like because to me, not I rather right someone who is just even I mean I think most middle class people, right? Hey, if you don't have a huge family, even if you have a huge family, you have a 2-3 bedroom apartment, man, I would say take that thing and just put your money somewhere else and just rent. I mean, it's like don't
But
buy.
to an
Don't try to.
extent, you're right, right? You got to look at the affordability. Right now, rent equaling the price of a mortgage. What's driving that? Again, back to the interest rate. Because we want to say, oh, the landlord, right? He wants to be charging high rents. But the reality is, landlord property tax goes up, landlord utility costs go up, landlord.
Maintenance, wear and tear, maintenance
Yeah,
cost goes
yeah.
up.
The landlord is having costs that are going up too, and the landlord is dealing with a mortgage just as you are, just as we are, that has an interest rate too. And a commercial loan does not have the same lifespan as a residential mortgage, right? At least you have your fix at 30. A commercial loan, it balloons at year 5, year 10, or whatever, and you're going back and forth you're going back to the bank, to always having to negotiate that loan or refinance that loan, in sooner than you will with a residential. So it's like it's even more a problem for rental to remain affordable. Abraham, people are paying $1,900 a month to 2,100. Like, my colleague just told me today she's moving because where she lives, the rent, they want to take the rent up by $200, $2,100 for 800 square feet of space. I was like, girl, that's my mortgage. Can you imagine somebody paying $2,100 a month for 800 square feet of space, and I'm accessing 3,500 square feet of space for that same amount of money every month? So
Yeah,
those are the
but
benefits
you but
behind.
you but you but you rather just but you have maintenance costs. You have other things where the
All of
probably
that
the
is in
renter.
her rent. She's
Yeah, yeah.
all,
I mean,
as
other
a
than that, right? I
landlord,
mean, that's
I
fixed.
don't pay that. I put all that in the rent. So you can't say, oh, the homeowner has more of a cost than the renter. No, we're all
No, I
carrying
would
that.
I would
We're
say
all
that I
carrying
would
that cost.
how's the renter carrying that cost because the renter is not doing the maintenance. The
The
renter is
the
not with
the
the
renter
rent.
pays for that maintenance in as a
Okay.
landlord, as a developer. When I go run my cash flow before I buy investment property, best and believe the bank is trying to see how all of that is included in my rent
Oh yeah,
per
obviously,
unit.
right?
Exactly. Yeah. So
But
I stretch that across per unit. So therefore, every tenant that is living in a unit is covering those expenses.
yes, but again, right? If it is 2100 year over year, even if they care about $50 or $200, I don't think it's going to be so expensive compared to you. Number one, there's some your water heater breaks.
That's so
There's
that is those are some of the cons, right? That
yeah.
unfortunately, as a renter, I'm not liable if the furnace goes out in that apartment. I'm not
No.
liable if that AC or those utility pieces, whatever, go off. But best and believe the landlord, if he calculates those expenses, the following year I'm taking it up because now I have to cover some of those expenses. Whereas the homeowner, you're right, I don't have a landlord to depend on, but I'm hopefully, I've been paying for my insurances and different things that will help me to address that once in a while cost. You see that cost is not coming every month, right? So at the
Mhm.
end of the day, when you weigh it out, I'm better off than that renter because what is happening is that my mortgage, I'm getting that back. It's a return in that investment to me. That rent, I pay that landlord for having that roof over my head. There's no return in that investment back to me as far as a renter. That's some of
You could
the
be, I mean, you could be saving though, right? To me, as a renter, you could be instead of you maybe taking some of your your savings, putting it into repairs or other stuff, or your property tax or your homeowners insurance. You could actually be saving as a renter. I think.
both of us can't save. That's the reality. Mortgage person versus renter, we're all not saving. you
Okay.
you share the data of how many people Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh yeah, that I
Homeowners
mean
are
that's
cost
a that's
burden.
a top that's a
Renters
topic
are cost burden too.
that's a topic for another day, right? It's like I
Yeah,
decided to bring this one on here tonight
yeah.
because it's the
And
one
so
trending.
everybody is cost burden. The renter, the mortgager, they're all cost burden because of the costs that go. Again, when I talk about the root problem is, and the capitalists will not want to pay people more. It's like, how do you want people to afford this stuff if you don't want to pay them more? If anything, if you want to solve all the problems, pay people what they need to be able to take care of their bills. And you will see nobody's going to be asking for handouts. Nobody's going to care about SNAP. Nobody's going to care about
Miss
the
B,
food shelf. Nobody's going to care about Goodwill, the Salvation, the soup kitchen. None of those things will need to exist, which our taxes pay for too. All the social services, we pay for it. But none of them will have to exist if people are making enough to take care of their bills.
Miss B, when you raise wages, right? When you pay people more, what you do, what eventually you'll be doing, you are causing inflation. That's what you guys did
You guys
during
have
wait,
every
wait, wait, wait,
reason
wait,
why
wait,
the
wait, wait,
property
wait,
should
wait,
still
wait.
exist.
That's what you guys did during COVID, right? You guys went and flooded the zone, right? I mean, it's like 2 trillion, 3 trillion. Guess what that did? Inflation in this country went to 9%. The very people you thought you were helping, right? At the end of the day, what happened? You go to Walmart to buy something, prices are like through the roof. And that's
Abraham,
and that's the
who
same
who
problem we are
who
facing today. That's
decides
what
if who decides inflation is a thing? Why do you guys act like these people come from Mars and decide that there's Mars or some
if
foreign
I feed
thing?
us if I feed there's so money, I mean there's so much money out there chasing
We
goods
are
and
the human
services.
beings.
I can
We are the
I would definitely
we, the
want to
Americans
tap
of
into some
this
of that money.
country. We create inflation. We decide there's inflation happening right now. We the one terminology this thing called inflation. We decide there's too much money in the economy right now, and so we need to do something about that. And you cannot equate that to wages. You cannot equate giving people extra. That's what happened in the pandemic. Like, not
It's,
everybody deserved to get what they got. First of all, you had it coming from every which way. So the rich people got it in the form of PPP loans. The poor people got it in the form of stimulus checks. So we don't want to talk about that. That was wrong. What I'm saying is, we have an economist that tells us, based on the cost of living, the average person needs to live, your citizens needs to make this. Nobody said pay us what we don't need. Pay us what we need. So the extra now will be, okay, if I decide to go get another side hustle or there, and that's when you're going to see, okay, maybe you have too much money in the economy. What I'm asking for is that pay everybody what they need to be able to survive, what they need. I didn't say give them surplus, which what happened in the pandemic is people got surpluses. Paying people
okay.
what they need, economists will tell you, paying people what they need will not cause inflation. It will not.
That's not. I think it will. I think it will.
That's
Right.
you
I mean,
think, but there's
it
data to
will.
support.
It will. It
There's
will.
data to support that
It will.
paying people wages, affordable wages, livable wages, does not lead to inflation.
Miss B, when people have more money in their pocket, what do they do with it? They go shop.
So you
They
have
go
a problem with people shopping.
when people shopping, what happens? Prices go
But
up.
this is the thing, you guys,
Prices go up. So
you
guess what?
don't
It
have a
causes
problem with
inflation.
poverty. You have a problem with people having too much money. You don't have a problem with poverty. You have a problem with certain people. It's not that you even have a problem with too much money. You have a problem with certain people having
No,
too
no,
much
no,
money.
no, no, no,
Why
no,
is
no, no,
one
no,
person
no, no.
being worth $500 billion not a problem?
Wow. You know what, Miss B, let's talk about it. I know you want to bring socialism here tonight, right? What is it? But I don't want to argue with you on that because you and I will always go back and forth on that,
Just
right? It's
let it
like,
be known that Miss B told you, if something is being talked about more than ever before, things are changing and that time is coming.
okay, okay. Anyway, folks, so now we are discussing the 50-year mortgage. President Trump is proposing a 50-year mortgage. Right now we have 30 years. What do you think about the 50-year mortgage? Do you think it's going to solve the affordability problem? Because right now there's a huge affordability problem in this country. Folks cannot afford their homes. If you want to buy a house, in certain places, it's like 600,000, 700,000, and right now the average fixed rate on a mortgage is like 30 years. No, on a fixed rate 30-year mortgage about 6.5% or so. So if you have a $600,000 home in 30 years and you pay that amount, who knows, right? How much your monthly payment is. So the president is proposing in order for people to buy homes, the builders. The other thing I hear, right, is we out of these builders like they are building all these homes, no one's buying them because as I said, they are so expensive. So this is one of the way I think the president is trying to juice up the housing market, for more folks to buy homes. But do you think though that this will solve the affordability problem, or it's just going to get people into what more debt? Because right
Yeah.
now, right now, even the 30-year mortgage, I don't know the data around that, right? And something
There is data. People are underwater. There's more people underwater in their homes. Underwater means that you owe more on your house than it's worth at this point. You have less equity in your house than what your house is worth. Like, for instance, if you are somebody who have a house that is valued at 142,000, or let's just say value at 116,000, but you still owe 142,000, you're underwater.
okay. I mean, isn't like since the pandemic though, the value of houses has gone up so bad. Is there anybody on the water anymore? Maybe there were the new home buyers, but folks that owned their home before the pandemic and things like that. Do you think? I mean,
Those
as
are
a
the people. Those are the people that prior to the pandemic, you can say, and not necessarily, right, because it depends where they are. They are not, their value is not going up. If it's an older housing stock too, sometimes, right, it may not be going up. The city that they're in may cause some of those things to not be going up. And then you have other things, like especially people in HOAs and condos. Those are the people in townhomes. So condos and townhomes, those people are really struggling
But I mean,
If
it's like let me make that make sense to me though. Right? You're expert. You're an ethics person here. So it's like we if you own a townhome where your value doesn't go up that much, the value of a property doesn't go up that that much or what?
your value of your property may not be going up as high.
Mm.
However, you have other things that are costing you to not be able to afford that home. Because mind you, HOA goes up every year. Your property
Oh, they
taxes still
carry they raise issue. I mean, do they carry like do they increase HOA like every year too?
it goes up every year. And what happened with the insurance market is some people saw a double increase in 1 year, right? When the insurance situation happened last year, 2024, some people might have say, okay, maybe your annual increase happened in July, and then what happened was the insurance thing came that fall of September, so people had to adjust, and some people insurance went up by 36%, right? And then you had a lot of insurance company who have refused to insure condos and townhomes, right? So nobody's taking all the economy is not taking none of that into consideration as far as people's affordability now for these homes, and especially if it was an older home. If you're dealing with a high HOA, and then you're dealing with high property tax, because if you purchase something for 130 back in the day, maybe your property tax for the year was probably less than $1,000. Now you're dealing with $2,000, $3,000 in property tax. Now you're dealing with maybe 800. I went to a meeting on the 8th. People are paying $1,000, $1,100 for HOA a month.
$1,100 for HOA
eleven
a
hundred
month?
dollars per month.
Where? Where is that? Where is that? What city is that? So it's be $1,100. And what is that? And what is that? And what is that mortgage?
And so the mortgage is probably the $1,100.
Oh,
The
so
mortgage is probably $1,100. And so right here,
including
in
including the mortgage or just the HOA?
1,100 is the mortgage, 1,100 is the HOA. So $2,200 you're paying for maybe a $85,000 condo.
Hmm. Whoa,
Yes.
whoa,
Yes.
and
And so
uh,
even if you get a cheap, if you're a townhome in your county, you get a cheap mortgage. By the time you add in your HOA, you become cost burden, because I'm looking at properties all the time. So I saw one, I did the math. I was like, oh, the mortgage here will be 751 a month. Then when I went and added the HOA, I'm like, oh wow. By the time I add in the HOA, I'm at $1,600 a month. So when am I going to, mind you, depending on the property, when am I going to make money off of that? Especially if it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and I already have to pay $1,600 a month, that means I need to charge $2,000 a month for that place to be able to make at least $400 in profit, right?
okay,
And
okay.
so this is the thing, that when we're trying to problem solve, sometimes our government just looks at one piece and wants to throw in a band-aid. And if you don't look at things holistically, you don't end up solving a problem. You solve it on one end, but then you cause a problem on another end. And I think ultimately that's what this 50-year plan is going to end up doing.
Well, the 50-year plan, I think, as you said, right, it's meant to reduce monthly payment. Do you think it will encourage? I mean, it's meant to encourage more people to buy homes, which is a good
More people
idea,
will buy
right?
homes because you're
Because
reducing the monthly payment, right?
yeah,
But the
yes.
price of the homes then now can go up.
But Miss B, though, a lot of people, when it comes to the home ownership, right, especially a lot of people are not financial savvy, meaning that we are. I mean, like, it's like, except you went to school for finance or you're a real estate person and stuff like that. A lot of people, when you go sign those documents to close on your home, people just sign it, phew, phew, phew,
They don't
because
even realize they're paying for mortgage. They're like, oh, I don't have to pay mortgage
because,
next month. You paid it at closing. You pay for that
because
mortgage for that month at
because
closing.
if paperwork be so huge, you say, I just want to get out of here, right? They will tell
They'd
you
be
closing
happy
something.
to sign on that line and get their
Closing
keys.
takes like 5 hours, right? So 5 or 6 hours. So it's a whole day. So you know what? To hell with that. Phew, phew, you just you sign your life away. So I think it's meant because, as I said, right, this home ownership in this country is an American dream. It's the greatest wealth creator. So the middle class folks in this country in America have been sold this idea that hey, when you own a home, at the end of the day, you can build equity and sell it and take a profit. Even at that, if Miss B will, tell you this, those that sell home, if you sell your home, Uncle Sam is gonna, if you ever, if you do have capital gain tax. Uncle Sam is going to come for some of that, right? Let's assume you bought a house for 500,000 and you sold it for 600,000. That 100,000, sometimes the only amount you might walk away with it might be $10 or $15,000 after everybody come for their share. I mean, I could be wrong or maybe and stuff like that. I've it's like after everybody come for that share because I mean the 100,000 is considered what capital gains. So number one, you have to pay taxes on that, and then you as a seller, you have to pay so many other fees. So the whole thing is just to me, it's just crazy, right? So at the end of the day, it is meant, I mean, the 50-year mortgage is meant to make home your monthly payment lower, for more folks to buy a home. But is it ready to your point? Is it really solving a problem like, to make a at the end of the day, number one, you don't even own a home.
Oh,
Because again, I will come back to that CNBC code I saw in this country. The whole idea that people own homes to me is wrong, right? We own mortgages, whether it's 15-year or 30-year. It all depends. If you can afford to pay your 30-year mortgage, then now that you own a home. But so long you have not paid that mortgage, what you own is you own that debt, you own a mortgage until you die, and the 50-year mortgage will only make this worse. Will only
look
make
at,
this worse.
like you said, that document tells you I buy something at $150,000. In 30 years, I will have paid $350,000 for that home.
Depending on your interest
That
rate though.
should be wrong.
Yeah, yeah. No,
That
depending
should
on
be
your
wrong.
interest. No, but depending on your interest. Sometimes you could pay more. You could pay more than
That's
what you pay.
what that amount is, with a low interest.
Yeah.
That's less than that's interest rate that you will never see again.
No, I mean even uh eh, even if you see that kind of interest at the end of the day, you still pay more.
So that's to tell you, right, folks, that the interest that math I just did for you, that's with Obama years. That's the Obama administration time when you had maybe a 3% interest rate. If you purchase something in the hundreds in 30 years with a 3 point something interest rate, you're paying almost $400,000 for it.
Yeah. The other angle I
Just
want to throw in
imagine
here,
a
right?
$600,000 home. What?
The other angle I want to throw in here. So many of our people, when it comes to home ownership, they get so excited about it. Oh, I want to buy a home. I want to buy a home. But I don't think so many of us know the real story behind the whole home ownership. But the immigrant population to me, is owning a home or renting? As an immigrant, which side will you choose? I know which side I'm on. As an immigrant, owning or renting?
When you say as an immigrant owning or renting, as far as I don't have status,
No, no, you have starters. You come here, you have starters, you have everything. It's like, but that's what I want to
if
why.
America, as an immigrant, if I'm deciding America is my forever home place
Hmm.
now, yeah, buy a home,
Hmm.
invest and start creating wealth. I mean, if you have no plans of going back to your country, at least start investing here and start creating wealth. My
But
thing is
again,
like,
again,
why are you
again,
buying the home? Why? What is
people should stop telling people that what is it called? Building wealth. I don't think, again, I mean, maybe that just I I might be far off on this, and guess what? It's my own personal opinion. I don't think home ownership builds wealth. That's just my
I
personal
think
opinion,
I
folks.
I believe that it did. And
It
that's why
does.
I say we need to
It did or it does.
revisit why it worked and when it worked. In
When did
today's
it when did it
economy,
ever build when did it ever build wealth? Tell me in what
oh my
decade?
gosh,
When?
the anybody up until 1987, I said, bought a home, they're feeling the benefits, they're seeing the benefits of it.
Okay.
They're seeing the
1987.
benefits.
We're going back to 1987.
It's unfortunate that's the last time it worked, but
Mm.
they're seeing the benefits now. What I feel works now is looking at some of the other investment opportunities and investment tools that exist. Don't just want to put all your eggs in one basket. And real estate cannot be the only basket. And that's why I said you have to think about, why are you buying this home? If you are somebody that have a big family and you're gonna have to end up paying high rent anyways, yes, do look into buying that home, Abraham, because at the end of the day, by the time they're done raising their kids, kids going off to college, it would make sense. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of benefits they can get from having that mortgage over time, even if you don't
Mm.
pay it off, right? That's
But
the
you're
thing.
not, but
That's
you're
one
not
of the
pay,
benefits.
but you're not
You
pay
don't
off
have
though.
to wait to pay off your house to have gain equity in it, right? So
Mhm.
that's some of the benefits right there. But if you're like, for me, I would tell you, didn't purchase my first home thinking this is my forever home. I always saw it as an investment, right? It was never, and it was a easy way for me to get, having no knowledge about the things that exist now, not being knowledgeable. It was the number one stepping stone for me as far as getting into investments. And having since been in the real estate market, I have learned different things and learned other tools that I need to be investing in along with investing in real estate, right? It doesn't, and I like to be honest with people too. I got into it in the time when the market had crashed. So I got stuff for really cheap. I got good interest rate, I'm dealing with very low mortgage. And so the reality is, for me as a young person, being able to have gotten and taken advantage of the housing crash, I'm in the place where I could have a paid off home in my lifetime. Whereas fast forward now, that likelihood is not happening for folks. It's not there like that anymore. So I like to be honest about my situation. What were the environment like? What are the things that were around my decision too, as to far and why and how I did it, and why I did it. If you're looking to buy your mini mansion and being house rich and cash poor, those are the those are the times I come in and say, no, don't be doing it because of that. Don't
Yeah.
do it that way.
And folks, if you wonder when Miss B bought her home, or I mean, what time she's talking about, it's a 2008 housing crash. That's when there was foreclosures all around here. It was a housing prime crisis. Those are the time this woman is talking about. That's when she bought her property. So if she's telling
Yeah.
you she's going to pay off, imagine where houses were going for. The banks were just unloading those properties.
Yeah.
Right? Banks were unloading those properties because
1,000. I
I
wish I would have taken even more advantage of it. Things were cheap as 10,000,
wow,
$4,000.
now you see that there were so many
You're
homes
not
that
gonna
are
see that anytime soon
folks
again.
are just walking away from this one. Well, I think even though, right, the builders will tell you there are so many people who want to own homes, but there's not enough inventory, there's not enough properties. But I still feel because of the affordability issue, right? And that's where the whole 50-year mortgage thing is coming to play. You could have a situation where you could potentially get back to that whole housing crisis, right? Because hey, I mean to your point, if I year over year horse rich, but I know cash pool, however you call it, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
house rich,
I
cash
mean,
poor.
it's like it does impact my livelihood. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, right? Sometimes you might be, and when it comes to the whole housing thing, the banks are not forgiving, right? Once you pass that your due date, the next thing you're gonna look interest start adding up, right? Month over month, if you are struggling with that, it becomes a burden. Some folks might just say, you know what, to hell with this thing, I'm walking away. You know,
And so
I'm
to
walking
prevent
away.
some of that, like, why do we need that to be happening? Like, work with refinance people and help adjust their mortgage rates
We should do
or
that.
their mortgage payments. Because what you forget, the 50-year plan, adjust their mortgage rates and mortgage payment now. And the thing is, this is the problem I have with, and why Abraham says we're renting mortgages. Your ability to take your equity or dive into your equity depends on your credit, which it shouldn't. No matter how every month you're never missing a payment, you're paying your stuff on time. If your credit is not good, you cannot get a good interest rate on this money that you have built up over the years. You will not get a good interest rate, folks. So pay attention, and you may not even be able to take it out. So if you're living in your house and you've messed up your credit, you're like you're like the renter who doesn't have credit enough to buy the house. So you don't have enough credit right now. You don't have good enough credit. You're not even in the position to take out the equity which you yourself have built so well. So it's like the banks have set this thing up to win all the time.
But I think that's one of the things too, right? To me, I don't think I would advise someone to take equity out of their home though. Except maybe you have a situation where I don't even think you should, even if you have to take money out, it shouldn't be such a huge amount. Because that stuff is risky. It's just going to increase your your mortgage again. Honestly, if you tap into that equity, it just increases your mortgage.
Again, it should depend on the interest rate, not necessarily increase your mortgage. Because let's just say
Well,
you
well,
have three
okay, yeah,
hundred
okay,
thousand dollar equity in your
yeah,
house,
yeah,
and you only have a $50,000 left that you need to pay in your house.
okay, and
If you
you
so
go and take
now
200, and you go and take 200,000 out. Isn't that just?
So
I mean,
now, and depending on the interest rate, so now you're going to get $200,000 to play with, or go and buy something else, invest in something else at, let's just say, if you could get that same 4% interest rate. So now you have a $200,000 loan, 4% interest rate that you're paying for, right? It's better than if you went to go get a personal $200,000 loan from from the bank, that with not the protection that you have with a mortgage equity loan, right? So there's if I can just simplify, it's like the better place to get a loan from technically would be yourself than to have to go to a bank and get a loan, and you have more protections. So those are some of the benefits of taking out your equity, right? And if
okay,
you're taking out your equity, and depending on how you go and pay, then you don't have to pay income tax on it too, versus if you went and got a loan somewhere else. So those are some of the benefits of having that equity there and utilizing your equity instead of it just sitting. Because most people, I'm like you, Abraham, I feel like it should just sit. But most people will tell you, say you're doing something wrong if you're just letting equity like that sit and not
okay.
doing something with it.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, it's a 1 hour show. I mean, Miss B has been having fun here. It's a warehouse, we estate. That's not my era. I don't like it, but
But I just
yeah.
like for people to be able to win. I'm
Okay.
here every Wednesday so we can figure out together how we can win
Okay.
and not just be trapped in Abraham's capitalist society.
So, do you think 50-year mortgage is going to make people
It's
win,
a
or do
bad idea.
the
I
bad idea
pray
also?
it's a bad idea. Why don't we talk about real problem, real solutions? Lower interest rates for people, take away the down payment thing that you need to have. Stop charging people for taking these loans out from the bank when the bank is there just to give loans. We as citizens, we need to advocate for what we need. And I don't know why we fail to be able to do that. Things are not the way they are because that's how they're supposed to be. Things are the way they are because certain people are advocating and pushing policies for them to be this way.
Okay. Here's my take on that tonight, right? The 50-year mortgage. I think it's a bad idea, but what a 15-year, 30-year, 50-year. If you don't need to, so you absolutely have to, right? Because house to be house is an emotional investment. It's not a financial investment, it's an emotional investment. You go into that thing. To me, that's why I say it's my personal opinion tonight, right? It's an
How do
emotional
you own a
investment.
home, a
Yeah.
beautiful home,
It's an emotional investment,
and
not a
it
financial
was an
investment.
emotional investment?
Yeah, because my kids love it. My kids love it, right? It's like my kids love it. They like to be here. So it's the emotional investment. It's not a financial investment. If it was up to me, it was not because of my family. I flipped it in long time. I make my I flip it long time. I make my money out of it. I be go and
Interesting.
go and double it somewhere else. But except you absolutely have to. If you have a family, you have a large family that you think you need a home, go for it. I would say, man, if you're in that apartment paying your thing, if they raise it up $50, $200,
Go
just be
find
there.
somewhere cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. Move when you move every year. First of all, it becomes cheaper. Let's say you want to live to your point where maybe you want to live in a flashy apartment, but as you move, it gets cheaper, right? Because sometimes some of these properties be having what deals. First month rent is free. Blah blah blah.
1 year special, yeah, that's true.
Exactly. So do
And you can
that
get a
and
brand new luxury apartment for a year in Uptown for $1,500
save your and
with
invest
all
your
the
money.
amenities.
Do that and invest your money somewhere else, right? That's what I'm saying. Do that and invest your money somewhere else. So that's the thing. But man, there's a very interesting topic. As I said, it's trending. A lot of people are saying, "Wow, is this gonna happen? Is it gonna make
No.
more people to buy homes?" But whatever it is, it's a good topic tonight. That's what we do here on the Inner Cycle podcast, man. Just bring these interesting, especially on our business segment. Again, right, I would say don't do it, or Miss B would say go buy that house. I would say don't do it. Rent. Okay, Miss B, last word.
I would say if you're young and you are making nice money, decent money, and I'm talking to our young folks who are in that 65, 75K salary range, and you're already paying luxury apartment price, go and get an investment. So look at it as an investment, right? And purchase your townhome, your condo. That's an investment. These days, a single family home is probably more affordable than the townhome and the condo, but look into it, right? It's an investment. Plant that seed, because either you sell it and you have made some money off of it, or you keep it as an investment property and you move on to the next thing.
Okay. Well, folks, that's the end of our show tonight. It's been a great show. It's always here every Wednesday, Miss B and the socialist and the capitalist, right? Is that she want everything free. I would say, we got to earn things around here. Things like that. So, by the way, see you guys tomorrow, same time, 7:30, for another great topic. Miss B, as always, it's always great having argument with you.
Always nice arguing with
Okay.
my favorite person.
Okay. Thank you, guys. You can have a good night. Good night.